Hello again! Today another video with our special guest Panda4994, who's not available, probably revolutionizing Minecraft again. Anyway, he sent us this little doodle here. Hello Panda Doodle. Ha! He can speak. Nice. Anyway, if you don't know Panda already, you can just click on his doodle right now and you get sent directly to his channel. And that's because the design I will show you today is a cooperation between us both, so show him some love, give him some credit there. And what we built is a mob counting cell. A little history: a few days back when the then new pre-release for 1.7 came out, we were dropping around, seeing if we can do something useful with the new features, and we came to weighted pressure plates, and yeah, then we found the use in mob counting cells. For example, for your mob spawners, if you have some kind of XP farm, or if you just want a shut-off system to prevent the server from crashing if you have 500 entities or more. Or maybe for villager breeding, if you want them to stop once they reach a certain number or something like that. Before I actually go to the actual design, I will cover a bit of theory here about weighted pressure plates and how they work and how to apply them. And if you don't want to see that stuff, you can just click on the link that should pop up somewhere right now in this video, if everything works out, and you will get sent directly to the part where we start talking about the machine. Otherwise, welcome to Weighted Pressure Plates 101. Let's start with the crafting recipe. First of all, the weighted pressure plate heavy consists out of 2 iron ingots and 2 gold ingots from the weighted pressure plate light. Those pressure plates are very similar to normal ones in the way they power blocks and redstone, but their output signal has a different strength depending on the number of entities on top, so it's not a constant output of 15 like normal pressure plates. The light weighted pressure plates count in multiples of 1. For each entity on top, we add 1 to the overall signal strength. 1 entity means a signal strength of 1, 2 entities a signal strength of 2, and so on. The heavy weighted pressure plates count in multiples of 10. That leaves us with a bit of uncertainty. If we have a signal strength of 1, we have at least 1 mob in there, or 1 entity. Or it could be 2 entities, or 3, up to 10 entities. Once we reach 11 entities, we have a signal strength of 2. And that stays that way up to 20 entities. And from 20 on to 30, we have a signal strength of 3, and so on. So if we have a look at the numbers again, with a light weighted pressure plate, we can count from 0 to 14 mobs exactly. And we know when we have at least 15 mobs, or entities. With the heavy weighted pressure plates, we know when we have exactly 0 entities on top. And we know we have 1 to 10, 11 to 21, and so on up to 140 entities on top. And if we have a full signal strength, we know we have at least 141 entities. To get around the limitations of a weighted pressure plate, there are several ways. This is just one of them, so you get an idea. The principle here is to count to the limit of the weighted pressure plate, which is 15 for the light one, and then move the group of 15 mobs away to start again from 0 mobs, or entities. And with an external counter, we can count how many groups came through. So every 15 mobs, the external counter, which is pretty easy to do with items and droppers by now, increases by 1. And when the external counter, the redstone counter for the total number of groups, reaches a certain limit, we can do stuff like turning off the spawner which the mobs came from, or giving us just a signal so that we start killing them for the XP, or whatever you want to do. Like that. But this is just one possible way, and what Panda and I did was not count with one pressure plate in several steps, we count in one step with several pressure plates. And this is how our system is supposed to work. We have 4 weighted pressure plates at the bottom, and the mobs coming in from one random side, doesn't matter. After a while, the mobs will form little groups, 4 groups in each of those corners. That's because they repel each other, because of their bounding blocks. And the furthest they can go from each other is in those corners. So that's where they will stay, so that on each single pressure plate there's one distinct group of mobs. And since a mob will more likely go into a corner where there's less resistance, so less amount of mobs, the distribution is pretty evenly. We start with the basic platform for our pressure plates. So we use good blocks again to make it easier to mark the place, to see it better. And we use heavy weighted pressure plates on top. And then have a little bit of redstone, some blocks. Let's take orange. We have redstone piece here, block and two comparators. The same on the other side, piece of redstone, block and two comparators in the front. And then two more comparators here. So that we have the 4 different pressure plates output to those 4 blocks here. Now, we want to react to different signal strength of those pressure plates. So we had redstone here and here, comparators, and then we could use, for example, a dropper or anything with an inventory, and use that to adjust the signal strength, put it into those 2 redstone pieces. Then those comparators to subtraction mode, and if we have something in here now, we can regulate at which point the signal from those pressure plates will get into those blocks. And with that we can deactivate torches. So that if I take out this item, it activates directly. If I put something in there, it means we have a signal strength of 1 here, so we need at least 11 entities or mobs on those pressure plates here. That's the basic redstone. Now let's cover it up a bit. We need a few blocks around. Now let's use blue, a little bit of contrast. Like that. Mobs will get pushed out in front here and fall down here, for example. And now for the next step I will add a few more blocks for the redstone. We'll put wool blocks on top of those torches so we can see where the output is. And we will need blocks here, here, here. Yeah, that way. Get around. And now we put a piston here, which will normally be extended as long as we collect mobs and will hold back water source block we will put in here. With that water we can later push out the mobs into this little drop. Now we need a ceiling. I will just use glass so you can see everything better, but probably it's better to use something else that covers up the light, for example. So we can let them fall in from here. They will collect down here, and from that side we can let flow in the water. Also we need 2 pistons here, which are normally extended as well, so the mobs don't go out here. And one last thing I will add, one last piston, is on the side here. That way. That will normally be retracted, so mobs can fall through, but when we push out the mobs, it will be pushed out as well, so no new mobs can fall in while we spill up the old mobs. Now let's add some redstone. That's not much to do anymore now. So we will connect those blocks with a redstone line here. Like that. Oops. And to prevent this from happening, you can just power it completely from the side with a lever or a redstone torch. And now no updates could do any harm here. And that signal, we'll put it in here with a 4-tick delay. Because that way we can make sure that even if it just blinks for a second, it's not just going to activate the whole system. It needs to stay off for at least 4 ticks before the signal goes off on the side then. And don't worry, it doesn't matter that we power this from that torch as well. That really doesn't matter. Now, in the back, we need a chute here, where they can fall down. And I will integrate some blocks in here, that way. Now we can put a block here and a comparator there, and this whole part here is completely blocked off so no mobs can go through. Now, that signal from this comparator, can put it into a torch, and that can go around here, like that. I will just exchange those blocks, it's easier. We can wire it differently, for example just wire it around here, but well, as I said, this is easier for me, easier to see also. Redstone torch there. And now finally, let's add some signs because of the water. We'll put 2 signs down here. You could use, of course, pressure plates as well there. Signs there. And I think that's nearly it. We'll just add another item here for the memory cell. And water in there. And yeah, finally I will add another button in the back to reset the memory cell. Yeah, that's it. And this is how the setup works, finally. I will put out an item here so we can see it more easily. We only need 1 item now, an every pressure plate. And if we now have enough mobs... come on. There we go. We get pushed out. And from the outside we can reset it by pressing this button. Also, if you don't want to reset it manually, you could use other mechanics like a timer which resets it, or you could use tripwire down there to detect when no more mobs are falling down and then reset it. It's up to you. This is just the basic cell, and now how to apply this? Well, I will show you by doing a little test setup. See you in a moment. As you can see, I've set up something on the top here, and we have a nice little output for the dropper down here. How to use the system now? Well, as said earlier, it's not accurate, but based on averages you can say that for each signal strength you put in the system here, you get 45 mobs out. Let's say you have a skeleton or a zombie spawn and want to use it as an XP farm. To get from level 0 to 30 you would need exactly 165 mobs, more. Now the next higher number after 165 we can reach with this system is 180. And for that we need a signal strength of 4. To do that we can, for example, use 2 minecarts, just 2 non-stackable items. There we go. And all we need to do now is turn on our panda spawner. He left us because he's busy, as said. So we have to deal with his minions now. And I will just wait here for them to fall down and collect in there, and we'll be back as soon as we reach the limit. See that? You see that? Nice. We're at the magic spot. This pushes out the mobs, and it started to raining. It started to rain a while ago, okay. Now, how many mobs do we have here? Let's see. 168! Wow, that's pretty good. Well, that's far from what we expected, but it's what we actually need, right? It's 165, so we have 3 in error. In some other tests I made, I had sometimes 175. I once reached 180, a bit more. So, yeah, I guess you can not say... You can better say something like 43, 44 per signal strength, but... Well, yeah, that's it. Our little setup here. Maybe you can use it. I don't know many situations where something like this would be better than having it count each mob themselves, like in the design I showed you earlier, but... Anyway, that's our approach to making stuff with the new pressure plates. Let me know if you have other ideas. We're curious. That's it already for me. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.